This event is honestly the most unplayable and unfun mess of a game mode that has ever been released. Every game on it just feels like an uphill battle, and there's some decisions from behaviour that go from puzzling to completely outrageous regarding the event. From within the balance of the mode to the offering spawns, it cannot be understated how much of a disaster this is looking to be, with lots of killers straight up refusing to play the anniversary event. So for those who aren't aware, the event is called the Black Banquet, and its gimmick is the food carts and tables that appear around the map that give special effects depending on what the global effect is, which I'll get into in a second. The killer's job is to poison the food carts and tables, which I actually had to read what it does, because in my Killer or Survivor games no one actually did it, because all it does is give the survivors a stamina bar or make it not count towards the table payoffs, which only matters if they pick up the specific cart you poison, so it's almost never worth doing it, as well as having a limit of 4 so you don't get carried away with wasting your time. You can throw them, but only in base form, so Dracula and Krasue, for example, can't use it in wolf or head form, making it worthless, and Chucky becomes almost unplayable with them. Now there are 3 different versions of this game mode. Stuffed Trotter, which gives haste after completing a generator or hooking a survivor, Creamy Pasta, which gives fragile pallets across the map, and by far the best, Baked Cambert, which give portals, and I'm going to speak about this one a lot this video because my god is it broken. But the real reason these matters is the morsels and table payoffs, which are both ridiculously strong. Stuffed Trotters gives a pre-nerf dead hard when eaten and makes all actions faster, including repair on payoff. Creamy Pasta becomes immune to hits when eaten and lets pallets be rebuilt and unbreakable on payoff, which shuts down a majority of the killers. And finally, Baked Cambert. Fucking hell is this one bad. When eaten, survivors go invisible, completely killing your chase and letting them stealth away for free. And about those portals, every time you use one of them after payoff, for a whole minute your item gets refreshed and you turn invisible, letting you completely lose the killer for free and gain your item back. Using this, I was once able to get 4 whole toolboxes in one match, which is absolutely insane. And if that wasn't enough, they heal the entire team 1 health state, meaning that if you hit someone vaulting and they pop this, they just walk off unharmed and kills all your pressure with multiple people healed at once. Now with all that, you think the killer will get something around equal, right? Maybe speed boost, insta-break pallets or remote hooking to truly make it a chaos mode, which is what it probably was meant to be. But no, you get downgraded clown bottles that look like farts, which have a small area of effect as a cherry on top. That's it for the 10th anniversary. So what incentive is there for Killer to play on this mode? Because who wants to play a mode with a bunch of hyper buffed survivors when they could just play the regular game? The worst part is there is 0 counterplay to any of this. Unbreakable pallets, 0 counterplay. Invisibility, 0 counterplay. Regenerating items, 0 counterplay. Pre-nerf and post-nerf dead hard on demand, 0 counterplay. Insta heals, 0 counterplay. So the killer just has to take these on the head for no reason but to piss them off and let survivors walk all over them, and they're supposed to want to play this mode? Why? I predict we're going to see the amount of killers playing it drastically decrease within the next few days, and with no killers, survivors will either have long ass queue times or drop the mode entirely, and if that happens it will be an absolute disaster for behaviour. And I can't say it feels like it's undeserved. It looks as if they built the mode around survivors and slapped something on for the killer last second. And honestly, if the killer had some random bullshit like this too, it would probably be a pretty fun mode, with a bunch of wacky shit happening for the sake of it happening. But it's not fun for a bunch of wacky shit to happen for the sake of you losing and on the other side winning. Even so, I can't help but question behaviour's design philosophy for these modes, as every single one, no matter what, relies on gens and hooking, when an event with a new kind of objective would absolutely be a mix-up and worth playing. For example, instead of this, survivors have to collect ingredients around the map and prepare dishes in the kitchen to serve at different tables like waiters for the banquet theme. And the killers within the trial have to kill the survivors for entertainment for the guests or something like that. That would have been way more interesting and fun than this survivor power trip of a mode. So why did the devs never experiment outside of the base game format with these modes? Because they could really make some fun events if they tried other ways of playing the game. And then the tortoise situation being one of the most dishonest and scummy things I've ever seen from a video game company, period. If you spent your blood points to get the anniversary offering, which you might have noticed, you got almost none of, which is due to being classed as a very rare and not a common. However, other people and myself noticed a pattern, and that is that they only appear on specific levels, which was odd, so people started complaining, and rightfully so. Why should devs need to gatekeep a progression currency like blood points? They responded to saying it was a bug and gave out 5 million blood points. Now call me crazy, but I just don't buy it. How incompetent do you have to be to make the item's rarity wrong and then make it appear on specific levels? No, this was an intentional change that was only changed due to the backlash and dismissed as a bug, and the only reason why I can think they do this is to make blood points harder to get, so it makes people grind more for prestiges. Apart from that, I really have no idea. So it's either a scummy tactic to make people play more, or the most incompetent mishandling of an event I've ever seen. Neither one good at all. I'm recording this about a day after I recorded the rest of it, but I played a bit more of the game mode to just see how bad it could get, and I noticed a lot of bugs, like a really astounding amount of game-breaking bugs. Survivors who walk over the fragile pallets will sometimes just completely bug out their characters. There are a lot of collision bugs where you can go on top of objects now for some reason, and it's around like a decent amount of loops. Like, was one on Trix's Delusion and like Garden of Joy on some rocks, and then the market in Trix's Delusion. And I had actually like a game-breaking glitch on Suffocation Pit, where I picked someone up next to a wall and got stuck in the wall. I filmed this, like I'm gonna play it now. I got stuck in the wall, they couldn't wiggle out, and I could not move or drop them. And if you're holding someone, the game will not end even if you hit the endgame timer, because it expects them to be able to just wiggle out. So I was forced to disconnect from the game because I got stuck in a wall. How does this happen? How do these bugs happen? Why are there? How? What even changed? Like, I'm actually just lost for words. I don't know how these happen. I don't know how. This is the one part that isn't scripted. I'm just speaking. How does this happen? Oh my god. From my experience playing the mode, there is a clear gap in survivors who use the banquets well and those who don't. I always win against people who use it poorly, like when no one is injured and they pop it, which happens a surprising amount to be honest. However, if you have 2 people on gens, 1 in chase and 1 on tables, the game will be completely miserable, making Swifts almost unbeatable. And with the invisibility, I lose chase, especially with the prevalence of cross-examination, which in my opinion is a busted perk that needs changing, but that's another topic for later. However, it does make the invisibility far worse to deal with. I think my big issue here is how behaviour will mostly look at stats to balance the mode and the game itself, and seeing how a lot of survivors just misuse the obviously broken things in front of them, they might think this mode is balanced. However, I hopefully think there's enough community backlash that this mode is anything but balanced, that they will clearly see this is not how they should design modes going forward, and I hope that they make changes to this mode at any future events which they create, because this was not it. Honestly, I don't really want to play this mode anymore, which is sad, because this was the first time I've ever been around to play for the anniversary event, even though I started playing a few years back, and it was a big letdown in my opinion. But what do you think? Do you love the mode or hate it? Anyways, I'll see you later, and goodbye.